On the 17th of August 2022, it was a normal, hot summer day for the doctors and nurses of UF Health Hospital in Jacksonville, Florida. Until one particular man stumbled into the hospital. The man, who looked to be in his early 40s, looked extremely distressed and his clothes are disheveled, almost as if he had just come out of an accident. When asked to take a seat by one of the nurses, he refused and, despite the gravity of the situation, waited patiently to see the doctor. When it was his turn to see the doctors, they found a cucumber forcefully shoved up the man's rectum, and when the medical team heard the circumstance leading up to this event, they were absolutely shocked. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. My name is T House Cram, and today we are going to look into the fascinating case of the Cucumber Bandit. Now, this case contains several interesting aspects, including a cucumber, exotic dancing, world conspiracy, and George Bush resurrection. With that said, please grab yourself a nice warm cup of tea and take a seat. This is the case of Kenneth Colton. In today's story, we travel to the Sunshine States of America, and it's here that I can welcome you to Florida. Known for its 1.25 million alligators, beautiful beaches, moist critical, and a large number of crack addicts, it is needless to say that the entertainment sector of Florida is definitely thriving. More specifically though, we are arriving in Jacksonville, one of the biggest cities in Florida. The city is also known as the Bull City, with its rich cultural backgrounds and huge historical impact during the Civil War. This place is a once-in-a-lifetime visit for absolute nerds. But for more than 900,000 residents, this city is not the Bull City, but simply home. Kenneth Colton, the main character of our story, is one of those residents. Today's story begins in the year 2022, and born in the year 1996, Kenneth would have been 42 years old at the time. He was raised by his father, Ben, and his mother, Jane, alongside two sisters and one younger brother. Not much is known about his current personal life, but what is known is that Kenneth is a massive fan of the video game League of Legends, with more than 13,000 hours of playtime and an impressive competitive ranking of Copper 2. It is easy to speculate that Kenneth loved the video game very much. When asked, his fellow League of Legends gaming friend Adolf Krittler and I Love to Fish 7 describe him as, "Yeah, he is a decent guy I guess, but he main Yasuo, so I think he will eventually go to hell." While growing up, Kenneth had aspiration to become an exotic dancer. However, through the following years, he unfortunately wasn't able to fully meet this aspiration. Even then, Kenneth wasn't able to fully give up on his dream. He would regularly visit the local strip club to perform and hone his craft. Unfortunately, it seems his popularity is not quite where he hoped to be. When asked about Kenneth's performance, one of the regulars of this strip club described his show as, "Fuck off, stop interviewing me." It appears Kenneth's performance is not quite like among club goers. And this is where the story of the Cucumber Bandit officially begins. It was a typical day for the resident of UF Health Hospital. The receptionists were taking calls, the doctors were talking to patients, and the nurses were taking care of the elderly. But then, suddenly, all signs of a calm morning were completely destroyed by a single man forcefully slamming the door open. This man is Kenneth Colton. He then quietly but swiftly walked towards the reception desk and asked to be quickly seen by a doctor. only to wait uncomfortably in the corner. When it was his turn to see the doctor, what the doctor had found was shocking. There was an 8-inch cucumber wrapped in condom inside Kenneth's rectum. Kenneth began to have a panic attack and started quickly explaining of what had happened to him. On the night of the 17th of August, 2022, Kenneth was walking home late one night after performing at the club. Little did he realize that a shadow has been stalking him from behind. After walking on a particularly quiet part of his commute, Kenneth felt a strange sense of anxiety and turned around, only to see a strange figure dressed in all black of approximately 6 feet in height. Out of sheer panic, Kenneth called out to the strange fellow, "Hello?" But they did not reply, instead started rushing towards Kenneth, pinning him to the ground, only to then pull out a cucumber and did unspeakable acts to Kenneth. Kenneth screamed out of sheer panic, "No, not the cucumber. At least use a carrot or a leek or something." Do you remember at the start of the video where I said Kenneth has a brother? Well, I should say had a brother. Charlie Colton is often described as a hard-working man and a fun brother to Kenneth. He works as a factory worker at the food processing plant. One unfortunate day, however, Charlie had slipped off the railing and fallen into a large container of pickles, only to then suffocate and fucking dies. This heavily traumatized Kenneth, and after his brother's death, every time he touches a cucumber, he screams. Due to the intensity of this screaming, however, Kenneth started to feel lightheaded and passes out. The last thing Kenneth has heard is the perpetrator mumbling under his breath to himself, "L plus skill issue," before falling unconscious. Since this case is still considered unsolved, we may never know what these cryptic messages actually means. The doctors, after hearing all the details of the event, was shocked by its graphic nature and quickly called the police. But when the police arrived, however, they quickly dismissed the event, claiming that Kenneth was never assaulted but actually inserted the cucumber into himself in order to commit insurance fraud. The police then completely shut off this case, leaving Kenneth confused but most importantly, afraid. How could they have come to such a conclusion when this is clearly intentional assault? The condom, for example, is clear evidence that this action is done with malicious intent against Kenneth. Anyone with half a brain cell would obviously realize that the condom is used to hide the perpetrator's fingerprint. Why would the police simply not do that job? Many on the internet had theorized that since Kenneth is a League of Legends player, the police are discriminating against him. And although League of Legends players don't deserve human rights, a crime is a crime and the police should still investigate it. It is, to put it quite frankly, weird that the police won't take this case seriously. In order to gain more insight into this fascinating case, I set up an interview with one of the world's most experienced cucumber anal penetration experts. In order to protect their identities, Mr. Eden Christian's face and name will be censored, and his voice will be altered. So you are one of the leading experts in cucumber anal penetration, right? Well, first of all, thank you for being here. I wanted to ask you, how could a tragedy like this happen and the police choose to not investigate it? Like, why don't they take this case seriously? How could an innocent man get cucumbered and the police doesn't even bat an eye? Could there be like some kind of special circumstance going on between the police force and cucumber penetration victim that I'm not understanding here.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Mr. Eden Christian, who lived on 4207 Beverly Street, Los Angeles, IP address 45.152.177.36, worked at Los Angeles City College, while also part-timing at a local BDSM club called House of Dominance, and has 2 moles on his left ass cheek, avoided the question and wasn't able to give me a satisfying answer. Aside from Mr. Eden Christian, I have also interviewed many other experts in this field. A total of 486 experts have been interviewed for the making of this video, and after compiling their answers together, I have found a strange correlation. That is, in the end, none of them was able to give me any concrete answer. When asked about the 2022 cucumber penetration case, 52.8% of the experts answered, "How did you get into my house?" Another 38.9% said, "Who are you?" And the remaining 8.3% is a combination of incoherent screaming, the usage of household objects as projectile, and "What? I kinda like it but don't tell anyone." As you can clearly see from this dataset, this is undeniable proof that this so-called cucumber penetration expert is withholding information from the public and is intentionally trying to cover up this incident. But that brings us to the question, why are they trying to hide this incident in particular? In 2022 alone, there is a total of 36 cucumber-related assaults in the United States, 42 if you're counting pickles. Although uncommon, cucumber-related crimes are not unheard of, so there should be no reason to hide it. I decided to personally investigate this case further, but what I found was that all the CCTV footage from that area at that time had been completely erased. And the house owner told me to quote, "fuck off." Because of this, I hired James Patterson, a professional crackhead from Craigslist, to break into the Pentagon and steal the CCTV footage for $5.40. And although he did manage to successfully break into the Pentagon, while trying to escape, he was gunned down by an M230 chain gun from a Boeing AH-64 Apache attack helicopter. Fortunately though, I haven't paid him yet. So I used that money to hire Billy Cole, also from Craigslist. And this time, he managed to successfully get the footage back to me before succumbing to bullet wound from an M249 light machine gun. But more importantly though, what I had found on those CCTV footage was shocking, to say the least. The CCTV footage depicts Kenneth walking home late one night and was assaulted as he claimed. But what was surprising is that, although really blurry, the CCTV footage actually managed to capture the perpetrator's face. And when I saw that image, it shook me to my core. Oh my god, it's George W. Bush. And then it clicks. In my last video, first person to resurrect Jesus Christ win $1 million. The winner of that video, Christians Against Dinosaur, had discovered that the United States Department of Defense had recently hired a necromancer from Peru to help with the war in Ukraine. It all makes sense now, folks. But before we can continue any further, let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Better Crack. Folks, have you feel that recently the CIA just stopped giving us cocaine? Well, fear no more, ladies and gentlemen. With the help of today's sponsor, Better Crack, you can buy narcotics online for cheap and high quality. Use coupon code MELOCUBE for 50% off your first purchase. This video script would have been impossible to write without the support from Better Crack, so thank you very much to them. Now, let's get back to the video. I'm pretty sure I do not need to tell you who George W. Bush is, but in the case that anyone does not know, George W. Bush is the 43rd President of the United States and a level 20 warlock who passed away during the Iraq War from the spell power word come. Yes! The United States Department of Defense is planning on using the level 7 spell Resurrection to bring George W. Bush back from the dead in order to help with the war effort in Ukraine. Personally, I believe that they are aiming for George W. Bush to use the level 11 spell True Mass Polymorph to turn the Russian soldier gay in order to diminish their morale. It all makes sense now, except one thing. Why is George W. Bush putting cucumber up some random person's ass? Well, the truth is, if you had listened to this video very closely, you would already have all the answer. Everything you need to answer this question is already in the video. But for those who still do not know, the reason why George W. Bush inserted a cucumber up Kenneth's rectum is Hello? 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 The reason is that's that, I guess. So this video is heavily inspired by a Huxley video called Turning a Sphere Upside In, where the whole premise of the video is basically just it started normal as first, and as the video goes on, it just get like more ridiculous. And also coffee house crime, and the whole cucumber thing is from this like r/us Reddit, where they ask about doctors of Reddit, what is like the worst excuse you got of having something up your ass, and one of the comments is something like, oh, I got assaulted by the cucumber Bandit, so I just kinda run with that. I have always wanted to do a video like this where it's kind of like a video essay bait and speech, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I did it very well. It's one of those things where you think it's funny at first, but after like, I don't know, like 10 hours of editing, you just kinda can't tell if it's good or not anymore, so yeah. Oh yeah. And also a lot of the people in this video isn't actually real. It comes from a website called something like this person do not exist, so it's all AI generated. I'm very serious about like not talking bad about like real people. And yeah, that's it, I guess. So okay, have a nice day. Video in. Bye. My name is Coffee House Crown. Fuck no, I'm not. Let me introduce you to in order to protect that, when asked